Hey, I'm so glad to be with you today. I've been very excited about this presentation because I'm interested in how a doctoral student can figure out how to weave aspects of their cultural understandings into research. And so I'm seeing that this is going to be one of the things we're going to talk about today. So this is not a doctoral student anymore. This is Dr. Niroj Dahal. So yay, congratulations. You may have seen we had a congratulation for him last year when he had finished his dissertation. He is one of the most active people in the Facebook and is one of the facilitators. And so maybe you see his different comments. And then I feel like perhaps a year ago, he was given the acknowledgement of being such an outstanding member of the Facebook. So you might remember him from that also. So we consider him a huge support and one of our global international friends. So I'll let you take over now, Niraj.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Lehman and colleagues. So I am Niroj Dahal, and I am originally from Nepal, and now I am working in different discipline, not only discipline, but also working to the different community for whom I want to share, and also for whom I have been as a part of the community. So with that viewpoint and other, today I'm so much glad to share what I have done during my PhD. So as you have seen, I will use slide at first, and then we may go for open question and answer session towards the end. So I may present around 20 to 30 minutes, and also I'll share some of my like the achievements that I have been through my PhD process. So let's begin. So I'm so much happy with our community, this group, as we are reaching to the 50,000 people around the world. So this is a good number in terms of those who are advocating for qualitative in general, and also qualitative inquiry or qualitative ways of doing thinking, being valuing, and they are interested to join in our community. So let me begin. So my name is Niroj Dahal, and I completed my PhD in year 2025. Though I enrolled in year 2020, it took almost 5+ some years for me to complete this journey. And the title of my PhD thesis. So here are we in our university for master and MPhil we call as a dissertation, and for PhD we call as a thesis. So because PhD thesis is little larger in terms of the word count and other. So my title is, if the title is not framed at the beginning, but it took some times to conceptualize and to arrive in this stage. So my title itself is Envisioning a STEAM-based mathematics education in Nepal, SWA-TWAM-TAT Inquiry. So the term SWA-TWAM-TAT Inquiry I'll share a little bit later, but for as initial sharing, SWA is individual, TWAM is a relational self that is associated with my research participants and myself, and how I have articulated this TWAM later I will share, and also TAT is universal selves. So beyond myself and my research participants. And I'm so much happy to share that my supervisor is Professor Balchandra Noitel, who is also one of the prominent figure in our academia in Nepal in general and also in other territories. So let me begin. So to begin with, I will share some of the glimpses that what I have done during the PhD on those time, but also after completing my graduation and all, now something has been already changed. So this is my very first qualifying papers during my PhD in our university. We have to write two qualifying papers, one largely focusing on methodology, other largely focusing on conceptual. So this is the first paper that deals with understanding and encountering the ethics of selves and others in autoethnography, challenging the extent and exploring possibilities, and it was published in TQR. And this is my first paper in TQR journal, and that TQR is one of the largest community in the world who advocate for this qualitative genre and qualitative innovation. And I have few number of submission later, and so far I have around 15 different articles in TQR itself. So this paper also received good number of like the impact. Now at this point, it is reaching around 40 plus citation and also around 100 plus countries. So I have received good feedback from this paper as well. And this is my second qualifying paper, which was produced during my PhD, and it is conceptual paper. And its focus is about a transformative STEM education as a praxis-driven orientation. Their praxis is focusing more on practice and praxis, where practice is self-centric, where and also practice is community-oriented. And this was one another thematic papers. And these are some of my other achievements during my PhD. Though in our PhD, we have to attend at least 2 international seminars or conferences. But these are as I just count, more than 30 plus conferences and seminars. And also, I also got chance to organize some of the events. So in national and international level. So these are some of my quick glimpses. So during my PhD, I published around 100 plus papers. Some are like the original papers with scientific reporting IMRAD. Some are like the commentaries. Some are editorials. Some are books, book chapters. Among them, this one is one of the book I got chance to edit in Springer series. So, and also I reviewed more than 300 plus scholarly articles around the world, and that can be seen in my ORCID and other profile as well. So here, these are some of, so among these all publication, more than 50% on my PhD issue. And this is the one conference that I got chance to contribute as a organizing committee. Later, there are other conferences as well, and these are some. And academic profile that are being reflected in my profile. So this is Google Scholar. Now citation is reaching to 1500 plus. This is Scopus, where now 50 plus documents are being reflected, and these all are here. These are some of my achievements during my PhD. So coming to my dissertation and thesis outline, I have reported my thesis in 3 lines. One is about phase 1, which helped me to craft the roadmap of my inquiry, how it comes, and second, how I pertain my inquiry, uh, second phase, and also third phase, how I reflect and realize. So in phase 1, I crafted the roadmap of my inquiry, uh, aligning in my self experience in one side and literature on other side. So chapter 1 largely focuses from my self inquiry, and also within this inquiry, I reflected what I did in my master degree and what are the gaps in those time. And again, I moved to MPhil degree. So what are the issues and how I undertake those issues and what are the gaps? So I try to inquire myself from my previous degrees, my other engagement. And second part, I begin with inquiring from the literature. So what is the need? What is the essence of the literatures in those times? So for that, positioning myself in the inquiry, I reflect my journeys as I just indicated earlier. Then also I just see from my different position as an ICT and me, we're moving beyond the boundaries. I also got chance to facilitate different courses of the ICTs connecting to the technology and education, and that are also offering me the spaces. And also I work as a community facilitator, that is in general term, in traditional term, it's considered as a head of the Department of Mathematics. So that also helped me to nurture leadership development process in my inquiry. And also I have attended many conferences, symposium, that were my path to further development. And in PhD, what I'm exploring is all about the envisioning a STEM-based math education. So my research journey, in my different like the publication, I have mentioned about what I did in my previous degrees and in now in PhD. So among those consideration, made in STEM education it was my first degree, master degree, and it was done in year 2011 to 2013, where I identified the reason why students feel a gap between teacher and mathematics subject, and also that situation creates a discourse for a viable pedagogy. And during my MPhil in year 2014 and 2017, here also I got chance to hear the stories of the mathematics teachers aligning to their classroom technique, questioning technique in the classroom. And that also gave me different strategy. However, both the degrees raise the potential question like how has the pedagogical process of school mathematics been contributing for producing production of outdated correspondings to innovative learners. So that is one gap I raised during my degrees. So yet another, when in the process of learning and being and becoming, and also in doing, I have got chance to learn how ICT can be integrated as the era is coming to the agentic AI now. But previously, technology incorporation is one of the core areas. So where I got chance to be the master students, and I got some tools, technique, and methods to integrate in my teaching learning. Then also later, after completing master, I got chance to be the course facilitators in different institution and even in my own institution. And also, I attempt to incorporate local and global technologies. However, that position also raise a question like for me to explore further about in what ways have teachers personal development initiatives around mathematics education been integrating local and global technologies. And then in the course of being and becoming, I got the chance to be the head of the department in one of the institution. I still remember that institution where I served more than 8 years as a mathematics teachers and and also community head of that mathematics community. So there I got chance to nurture my leadership development process where I facilitate indoor and outdoor mathematical activities, nurture mathematics teachers across classroom leadership. It still that position also raised a question for me about how has the leadership development process been taking place in area of school mathematics. And also I got chance to participate in various conferences, symposium, and that are also paving the path for me to further growth. So there also I got chance to share my ongoing research, other development. However, these all positions also raise a question like in what ways has there been a synergy between local, such as informal, ethnic, communal, and also global, such as standard objective universal knowledge system in creating curricular spaces across mathematics and technology education. And with these all are the foundation of my self-inquiry and raising the question. And in the second phase, I frame my inquiry through literature. So where I raise the questions and also I see from different literature as well. There, that context give rise to certain issues and also possibilities and what is next. And my areas for exploration were all about what is next. So if we see our teaching and learning that have been gradually improving, but previously it focuses on superficial learning versus testifying mathematical knowledge. And also disciplinary knowledge transmitter from one that metaphorically from one head to other head, knowledge is being transmitted and rote learning, teacher-centric, exam-oriented, donor-driven systems are highly impacting in our system. And these contexts give rise to disengaged nature of educational process. And it demands one size fits all approaches. So that need to challenge. So because of these all situation, there are different issues like large number of students were not satisfied with their achievements and they are not confident to their own achievements, and also business as usual motto blaming to other. So this is done by this, so this is done by other, not raising question to self. So this give rise to sympathy driven or victim blaming approaches. So what might be the possible solution in my inquiry? That is focus is should give more from interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary and transdisciplinary approach of our teaching and learning, not simply to one subject but all subject, and to solve the real world problems and also empower teachers, thereby students to become analytical, critical, creative thinker, innovators, and problem solvers. So that is why I offer this inquiry in my PhD journey. So the purpose of my inquiry was all about envisioning a STEM-based mathematics education in Nepal in these four core areas. One is about transformative curriculum spaces. I connect with SWOT metaphor and other theoretical support, and also engage pedagogy. And another is about transformative teacher professional development, and finally reflective teacher leader. So I see in these four core areas. So I also raised four research question, where overarching research question was how do contextual and universal perspectives contribute to envisioning the transformative STEAM-based mathematics education in Nepal, and also supported by four subsidiary research questions, which are focusing largely on curriculum spaces, engaged pedagogical processes, and teacher transformative teacher professional development, and also leadership development processes. So I have articulated in these four areas. So my inquiry is largely focusing. This is more grounded on different philosophical grounding. I try to see from this dialectical fusion of Habermasian emancipatory knowledge system, Freire conceptualization, Gandhi's Swaraj perspective or self-role as a teachers, Measure for transformative learning, and tat, that means that is dharma karma with Western critical like the theory, and also other neoliberalism versus life world centric epistemology. And also I see from curriculum model. So I use Schubert curriculum metaphor a lot to how engaged pedagogy can be seen for how curriculum is being, as a curriculum is just serving the intended goal, or that should go beyond that. And also I see from our machine knowledge interest, and also critic static, also democratic decentralization assessment and other. And also I see from pedagogy assessment and teacher education from different dimension. My inquiry is significant to that side. And this is one of my challenge in my inquiry, that I use different theoretical perspectives as well as the not only perspective, also the views and alignment. So for that, I use local theories, nearby theories, and established theories, where I use transformative learning theories for providing space to critically reflect, knowledge constitutive interest for describing human ability to pursue goodness, and also develop a counter-hegemonic vision of system-based math education. I use critical pedagogy to challenge the cultural or historical and or political views of system-based math education. And also I use Sora's perspective to envision an alternative society within the mathematics education community. And also I use curriculum images and metaphors of Subodh a lot in one of my chapter, empirical chapter. And also I use participatory future studies, that is inclusivity, co-creation, and future-oriented action are need in 21st century. And that are my theoretical perspectives to offer my my theorizing concept. So in chapter 2, it is all about conceptualizing STEM-based math education, and I conceptualize on these different areas. Very first is on integrated learning, transformative learning, reflective leader, philosophical perspective, fallible and absolute nature of the system education, economics, rationalism, focusing more on discrete tasks and other, contextualization and universalization, and also in different territory, and also in largely on STEM field. STEM-based mathematics education in my inquiry is more focusing on contextual emergence of STEM in Nepal, pedagogical impact and inclusivity, philosophical and practical implications, and also vision. What should be and how we could ever connect mathematical thinking, being and doing in this world. So moving forward on my chapter 3, this is roadmap of my inquiry, and I subscribe to at first I subscribed to the Western centric, like the notion of doing the research, but later I conceptualized that more cultural sensitive alignment. So my axiological assumption focus on more dharma and karma. It is more on co-constructed narratives, interaction, and mutual understanding, and show narratives were at major focus. I began with axiology, not from epistemology, because my research is more largely focused on value. So value is at the center. My ontological assumptions were on what is there that can be known, or what is the nature of realities I will be encountering. So my alignment is more focused on realities inseparable and multiple realities being generated in my inquiry. And also epistemology is more knowledge is co-constructed among so myself and Tom and Tat, my research participants and universal world. So I use Gyan Pranali design space. That is largely just parallel to this is research paradigm, where the paradigm I use that paradigm as more Gyan Pranali design space. So the focus is on principle of unity and interconnectedness. So here I use different terms such as Bahu Prasnabad. It is more about more aligned to the critical understanding of the being and also knowledge system. And Bahu Rupabad, that is multiple forms of that, like as multiple forms. And also Bahu Arthabad, it also focuses on multiple meanings, meaning making and understanding from myself, my participants and all. And I connect that as a Progyanbad. It reflects on capturing a wider meaning by offering possible alternatives, transformative intents, and art-based approaches. And for that, I use these Gyan Pranali design space and SWA-TWAM-TAT inquiry, where focus of Bhahu Prasnabad was on ideology critique, praxis, and power interest. And also Bahu Rupabad focuses on pluralism and differences and autographical tone and aesthetic tone. Bahu Artha, that is lived experiences, phenomena, life world, and also meaning. And finally, I use Progyanbath for imagination, post-formal, and perspectivism on offering the perspective writing. So this is my SWA-TWAM-TAT inquiry as a research methodology, where I use individual selves, relational selves, and universal selves. This is from first person to second person to third person writing. So in crafting my chapters, I reflected on first person as myself, as a second person, my research participants, and third person as a universal self. So here self as tag, self as text and context and meaning of the text. So self as cultural construct, and self and other dialectical. I've used these ways of like the inquiry. And also in one of my section of my dissertation, I have mentioned how my inquiry is different from Western like the methodological tradition. So I I also offer the one of the spaces for that, so I try to challenge, not challenge, I try to challenge positivist reductionism and embrace subjective experiences as a valid knowledge system. And also I use SWA-TWAM-TAT inquiry, that is largely Eastern, and it is more like the non-dual and also metaphysical notion, seeking spiritual realization through contemplative and meditative inquiry. So also we try to blend art-based critical autoethnography, and also it try to see self, society, and system, and critique this egoism and dominant power structure. On the whole, this Sutam Tat is becoming type. It is all about truth is becoming. We call this becoming as a Satya. So we are looking towards the Satya. So my focus is all about on the way of becoming. So I use that notion, and these are some of the key like the similarities and differences that I have reported in my thesis in one of this can be reflected in chapter 5, table 5 in methodology section, where I have used how my inquiry is different from the other inquiry. So research space, so I call research space as my research site and research participant. So as my inquiry is myself, is so Tom and Tat. So it is site is not confined to one place and or one boundaries, because I'm looking forward to the universe. So confined to individual selves, relational selves, and universal selves. So it also helped me to explore the information through the ethnographic field work. So there I try to see from ethnographic world as well. So here is me, and these four are my participants, and one is critical friend who is looking from far away to offer me different input and also to shape my inquiry differently. And this is one of my, like how I have framed or organized my chapters, a later part of my thesis, where I use the different inquiry areas and its chapter representation and narrative generation process, how I generate these narratives either from self or from ethnographic, or either from first person, second person, or third person, and inquiry question. Similarly, I use the field data sources. Some are from my previous experiences, and some of during my PhD, and some might be after my PhD. But in those time, I use during my PhD, and also some experiences that I initiate at the beginning of my chapter. And also there are different theoretical reference and perspectives that I have clearly articulated over here, and thought spaces. So how I have offered the spaces to others. And I use Akhyan writing as the process of inquiry. So this Akhyan is a type, this is more than narrative ways of writing, because in my type of writing is a process of inquiry itself. So that may help it is more recursive type of writing, balancing dialogical and dialectical spaces to the other. So I use Akhyan writing for my performative, philosophical, and artistic writing aligned to more roop here is more satte, so that is more becoming, and dialectical personal stories connecting all so tamtat and shape ways of thinking, being, valuing, and doing in Gyan Pranali design space, and that helped me to offer the thick description of self, that is so tom and tat, and this helped me to explore my anecdotal and personal experiences of insider and also a reader and author culture. So this helped me to bring different layer of writing, such as field text, observation, interviews, memos, field notes, and also narratives of my participants. So my writing are more lively and viable by different logic and genres. So I have used multiple logic and genres, offering the poetic and also offering more envisioning type of agenda. So process of my inquiry is a bit like this. So firstly, preliminary source, like the sources of field text, narrative, voices, and reflective notes, and I write. So writing is my self-writing, and then I add my experiences, my like the experiences of Tom and also Tat, and then it goes to the subsequent sources, and similarly after subsequent I use Akhyan writing as for the process of inquiry, and then I proceed with my inquiry in different phases for ensuring the meaning making. So for ensuring the quality standard of my Sotam Tat inquiry, I have used a different strong construct that are largely parallel to the Western construct. Even I have written one paper that is in TQR that deals about ensuring quality in qualitative research. So what are the quality indicators that ensure the quality of any qualitative research? But also here in my PhD inquiry, I use Vicharshil Darshan, that is, and Vimarsa, and Vichar Drishti Pariksha, that are largely parallel to pedagogical thoughtfulness, critical reflexivity, and ideology critique in Bahu Prasnabad while raising the question. And in Bahu Rupabad, I use Prakash and Satya Anubhuti, that is illuminating and very simulative. And for Bahu Arthabad, I use Pramana and Vyapakta, credibility and transformability in parallel term to Guba and Lincoln's quality standard. And also Pragyanbad, I use Punatto, that is holism. So I subscribe these different quality indicators for my inquiry. Regarding ethical consideration, I use dharma and karma a lot. It is such as like procedural ethics as my dharma and situational ethics as my karma. Dharma is my duty and karma is my action. To understand the ethics of self and others as a guiding principle. And I also follows the situational and procedural ethics that are necessary for any like the dissertation or thesis or any research work in our university. So I'm moving to the next phase, phase two, protein my inquiry. So in this phase, I have reported my 4 chapters that are, one is about mathematical curriculum spaces, synergy of local and global knowledge for producing innovator, and another chapter about exploring school community relationship and their roles in engaged pedagogical practices in mathematics. Chapter next is about teacher personal development initiatives around school mathematics. And finally, school mathematics teachers leadership development process as a reflective teacher leader. So here, chapter 4 largely addresses the first research question, as this is my first empirical chapters, and it focuses on how have mathematical curriculum spaces been developed by the synergy of localization or globalization or go localization for producing innovative citizens. So here I reveal or I reflect different aspect of mathematics curriculum aligning to self Tom and Tat, so Tom Tat. So these are some of the heading that I have used. And here at the end, I use Tat inquiry, Tom inquiry, and also so inquiry at first, Tom inquiry at second, and also Tat inquiry at last. So I reflected the 3 layer of the interpretation. So, and also I have different type of narratives in between that offer the illuminating viewpoints, and also these are not simply rhetoric in terms of reading, but also there are some aspect perspectives and also the questions that I have raised in between. So I have used the radar map a lot during in my dissertation that offered me the space to see from different alignment. So I have also invited the different theories for theoretical reference. So such as I invite Ferrari, Habermas, Mizuru, Gandhi. So in different alignment while theorizing my proposal or my like narratives. And this is at another section within that chapter 4, where beyond the textbooks, curriculum as a lived experiences, I use Subud curriculum metaphor, transformative theories, and also curriculum spaces to connect the different dilemmas to unpack the text-centric teaching to critical reflection to the local and global knowledge intersection. And also I have used different cases, go localizing mathematical pedagogy, how that can be done. So these are some examples, but focus is on culture plus collaboration, how that contextual relevance we can encourage in teaching and learning process. And there are different orientation. So what offer different orientation, measure offer on critical reflection, disorienting dilemma, and prospective transformation. Our masses focuses on all 3 type of like the interest, informing, reforming, and transforming. And I try to see from this key orientation of this theoretical reference and my or perspective. And there I use 3 layer of inquiry: first person reflection, second person reflection, and also third person reflection. So here I have used in poetic form. So I will move forward. And moving to the next chapter, this is chapter 5, and the focus is on for exploring school community relationship and their role in engaged pedagogical practices in mathematics, as I already informed how I have framed this chapter. And there, this chapter attempt to address my second research question about how are engaged pedagogical processes, practice and envision in the school mathematics. Here I use different like the thematic areas, and these thematic areas are for me to see how engaged pedagogy can ensure teaching and learning processes. Here I use a pedagogy of many colors. I use the like this rainbow metaphor to see the pedagogy by inviting Subodh, Ferrari, Habermas, Soras, Mizuru, and also see as a mindful grace. And I attempt to theorize this perspective from different layer, what I am knowing, how I am knowing, why I am knowing, and who do I become after knowing that? So it is from Palmer's concept. And also I use engaged pedagogy as concepts, conceptuality, reflexivity, critically, and imaginatively. So I attempt to theorize this and other you can see in my dissertation as well. And I use a lot in poetic like voices, and also I refer a lot on that line. So where I see from bridging school community and classroom as a community engagement like viewpoint. So where our focus is from building trust and contextual understanding, and also school community like the connection, and also parents, teachers like the association. But as in school there are different type of association. Association meaning that the teachers, students, patron, there might be the thought triangulated association. So that ensure the learning process. So I have invited that way as well. And there also I have used Gandhi, Ferrere, and Mezuros in different viewpoint and perspective. And also I use metaphorical and philosophical foundation of engaged pedagogy, where I use marigold metaphor, diverse plate of pedagogical wisdom, where I see these like the marigolds layer in different petals and marigolds field. So I use these metaphors a lot here and there. And towards the end, I propose one roadmap, my envisioning roadmap in radar map. You can also see here where it focuses here from past. Some are from past line, then goes to present, and then future. So past, present, and future alignment are a lot. So this color shows my past experiences. Then this another layer of lines showcases my present and what I have envisaged. So here from simple lecture to dialogue, and from abstract algorithmic focus to real world focus. So here disengage, how that can be move forward with engage. So that are my proposal in this line. And moving forward to chapter 6, it is all about teachers' professional development initiatives around school mathematics. Here, the major research question I address is about in what ways have change-driven teacher professional development initiatives around school mathematics been inclusive to both local and global perspectives. And here I try to see from Mejro, Habermas, Ferrere, Gandhi, Oldenburg, of participated future studies. So I see by raising a different question. So here also I use in these chapters a lot about professional development in school mathematics. I reveal some of my experiences, how I've been through these processes, and also synergy between local and global perspective of professional development, occasional and continuing professional. These are some of the headings where I have different narratives that reveal or that may offer different perspectives. And they are also use key implementation of remixing education, professional development for educational change, professional development around across different setting. I have also offered different cases. And towards the end, I use so inquiry, first person reflection, Tom inquiry, second person relational reflection, and thought inquiry, same third person universal insight. So this way, my this chapter also move forward. Here, I also use Ferrer concept, Habermasian concept, Mizuro's concept, and Gandhian concept, so to see the world from different viewpoint about professional development. And also I attempt to use these synergy between local and global perspective of STEM education. And I reflect different poetic version by inviting somewhere Ferrere, somewhere Gandhi, somewhere Mizro, and somewhere Habermas. And same way it goes on occasional and continuous PD, similarly for personal development for educational change. These are some of the, and sometimes I raise the questions referring to different theoretical alignment. So you see from Ferrer line, Habermasian line, Mezuro's line, and Gandhian line. And also you can find a lot of my reflections in a poetic expression here and there, back and forth. And this is my proposal of envisioning what should be or what are the components from more informative teacher professional development to more transformative. So, so here, like export driven to more like the participatory, how we could develop. So here, same way as I proposed in earlier chapter, same I use these type of concepts in radar map throughout my dissertation while offering my insights, my envisioning towards the end. And last, my empirical chapter is about school mathematics teachers leadership development process as a reflective teacher leader. Here I address my research question, how has the leadership development process, teacher as a change agent, and a reflective teacher leader been in place in area of school mathematics? So I wrote a letter to Ferrere, how that should be. Also, I wrote a letter to Habermas, Mizuru, Gandhi, with a different perspective, viewpoint, and theoretical grounds as a reflective teacher's leader. And here are some sample. Dear Ferrari, your word slips up to the classroom. So I invite this way. So because of time limit, I could not read all, but I have invited in poetic form at the beginning of this chapter. And in these chapters, as I did in previous chapters, I initiate one theme from a new beginning as a full-time mathematics teacher. So when in Nepali context, we have been working as a part-time teachers, and even a math teachers in my time is very like the prestigious job. Now, when it comes as a full-time, then again, that may be the different job. So I reflected that way, and also I use becoming a community facilitator of mathematics, imposing or emerging in leadership development process in mathematics. So these are some of the cases. And here also I use different cases. And also I use first person reflection, second person relational reflection, and third person universal reflection in my dissertation. And same way, I invite Gandhi. Sometimes I invite Ferrari. Sometimes I invite Habermas to see from different viewpoint about the leadership process in school setting. And also, I theorize differently. In improving, I raise a question about where is the problem? Who are the responsible for that problem, or whose interests are being served in that line? What may be the solution? Who is the responsibility, and who can work together? So these are some of the perspectives I have used by inviting Habermas, Ferrari, Mezzaro, and also Gandhi. And also I have see from reflexivity perspectives where what was the plan, what did we do, and what can be done more for betterment. So these are some of the theorizing aspect in this part. Similarly, I use the different cases, and its poetic expression here and there. And towards the end, I offer my like the evolving vision of leadership development process from authoritarian leader to more reflective leader. So from more community. So here is authoritarian leader who just offer to follow, more informing, material focused, individualistic to more community-oriented, Atma-centric, transforming, praxis-driven. These are some of the aspects that may offer for being more reflective leader. So towards the end, and the third phase, I made a reflection and realization what I have planned and what it does that went well, or what changes were made. So I have reflected from like formulation of my inquiry agenda, context, formation, and also reflection on emerging research question, looking back to my theoretical perspective, reference and perspective, reflection of methodological choices, responding to my research question, looking from writing, publication, and peer review process, nobility and level of contribution of my inquiry, how is my inquiry associated with the national priority, and also STEAM-based math education in Nepal and envisioning models, how I theorized my overall engagement, and also limitation and final remarks and way forward and in this chapter. So here also I express in different poetic form. So I want to read one poetic expression, as there you can see a lot of poem. Here is one of them. So in my reflection chapter, not everything that came to my mind, that ran through my heart, that flew through my vessels, I wrote. The word fell short. The phrases could not give a sense. The sentence became meaningless. The paragraphs appeared oxymoronic. The chapter could not be despaired. Many feelings were ineffable. I tried to express one thing. A time it becomes otherwise. The convention were constants. The truth emerged out of nowhere. Whose interest did I serve? Whose world did I represent? Whose dilemma did I address? Whose community did I build? This is a thesis. This is not a thesis. This is final. This is not a final. So, in somewhere, I wrote in my thesis, and there are a lot. And this is my theorizing line, how I theorize my overall engagement, aligning to my empirical chapters, and also in overall engagement. As I told, I use Gyan Pranali design space, where I use four different this Gyan Pranali, where all about Bahu Prasnavada, Bahu Rupavada, Bahu Arthavada, and also Pragyanvad. And I use these triangulated concepts to showcase about SWA inquiry, TOM inquiry, and TOT inquiry. And within that, I use four core areas that are more transformative curriculum spaces, engaged pedagogy, transformative this TPT, teacher personal development, and also reflective teacher leader with the different viewpoints like community ownership, emancipatory interest, addressing dilemma and contradiction by post-formal thinking, and also world-word connection through conceptualization of that, as Ferreira indicated earlier. So, on the whole, this inquiry invites more dialectical instances for me as a self, so relational selves as a thought, and universal self, okay, that Tom as a relational self and thought as a universal selves to reimagine STEM-based math education through reflection, dialogue, critique, and transformation for inclusive citizenship education. So towards the end, I wrote like this, way forward. I would say the journey begins from here. So this is one thing is done, but journey is being here. So right after completing my dissertation thesis, I received this award. This is one of the prestigious award in Nepal, and this is received in like the texts are in Nepali, but it is about like Science and Technology Youth Award of this 2025, and I received this award. And these are my family members. I just want to remember, he is my father, mother, my wife, and he is my elder, and he is my son, and here is a small son. And he is my supervisor, as you have seen name earlier, Professor Balchandra Ruital. He is also serving as dean, and now he is in international visit. He is my head of the department, Dr. Binod Prasad Panta, who has graduated last year in my same field. I am the second PhD in STEM education, and he is the first PhD. And she is our honorable Prime Minister, from whom I received this, like the convocation certificate, and he is our Vice Chancellor of our universities. So Professor Asut Wagle. So just to show, and these are some of the references. So I took little long. So now presentation is over.
Wow. Oh, that is amazing. And huge congrats on the graduation, of course. I'm so glad you included pictures from your family also. Uh, I'm really pleased we're posting this because I need to look at some of the slides and really think thoughtfully for a while because they're so in depth. People that are here, feel free to write a question in the chat, or you can also unmute. I'll go ahead while people are doing that and just say, I was so impressed how it wove poetry in there also. So can you tell me more about how you collected the data? So this was for professional teachers of math, correct?
Yeah.
And at what level did they teach?
Some are from like the universities, and some are working in schools.
Okay.
So yeah, so that are blended because I want to see their perspectives, not as school teachers, not as university faculty, but also all that are associated and relational. So I selected there among the five. One is critical friend, one is female as well, who is serving as a secondary level math teachers, and so among other three teachers, one is as a school teachers as well as university faculty, and other is school teachers. So on the
Mhm.
whole, two are fully school teachers and two are partially school teachers and also university lecturer.
Okay, and you interviewed them. Did you observe practice also, or it was more interview based?
So, like, because in my inquiry, my focus was more on bringing their perspective. So, I just listened their stories, but in a deep, so that I could able to understand what they intended or what are their viewpoint or perspectives on my alignment, because I'm the major source here in my inquiry.
Hmm, hmm. Okay. All right. I see a question. How do you see, and I want you to repeat it after me so I'm saying it right, the SWA-TWAM-TAT inquiry process transferring across different cultural contexts?
Yeah, this is, previously at the beginning, I began my inquiry with autoethnography.
Mm-hmm.
When I was drafting my proposal, auto/ethnography, connecting self and ethnography together. And later, during the process of when I got the research methodology courses and also when I read different books, I shifted to blending it to collaborative autoethnography. So I just write something and then I will take those writing to my participants and they will offer input, and based on their input I plan to report my inquiry. But what happened when I started writing on that way, then it again comes to my mind to see, oh, I should do something new and innovative that other have not done. So I conceptualized and I fragmented that collaborative autography into different alignment. So because in collaborative, I am there as a self is there, and my research participants are also there, that are my relational selves.
Mm-hmm.
And I should also not address these two entities. I should also address the world. So I see from universal selves. So I coined that term with the help of my supervisor. I am so much happy to work with him, as he also suggests me to see from different alignment. So I coined the term SWA-TWAM-TAT inquiry. And when I see different literature, it was not there. So I have to write one editorial from my side to what exactly that one to share. And after completing that editorial part, which I wrote in our own journal, Journal of Transformative Praxis, where we reported this SWA-TWAM-TAT inquiry, which challenged the Western induced knowledge system and explored some possibilities. And when I was thinking about SWA-TWAM-TAT inquiry, I read one book in year 2022 where there was a term producing authentic dissertation. That always trigger in my mind. How can I think or how can I see my work in different alignment so that reporting same thing or reporting other things differently is my thought provoking on those days, and that triggered me to see, and at this stage I could able to work on this line.
Yeah, I love that book, and I always recommend it to any student, but particularly my students that aren't from a white kind of middle class American perspective. So when I post this, I'll put the link for that book site too. I think it's incredible. Wow. And so I have not seen anything that you've done in the literature except I did see the Dharma and Karma used for ethics, and I have it a little bit in my intro book, just a minute.
Yeah.
So is there any way, so you have the article, but is there any way you're thinking about doing a whole book on all the different parts of the process? And I know that's a lot of work.
Yeah, so in future, so I try to see in each line, and in future publication I will advocate this like SWA-TWAM-TAT from different dimension. And I have started writing some of my how I reported my inquiry, and very soon I may submit to some journal about reporting strategy of my inquiry.
Mm-hmm.
And also, when reporting, there may be ethics and methodological procedures, and also majorly what research questions were addressed. So everything may come. So I'm planning to contribute in some of the book that may be in collaboration, or that may be with the help of, with my one. So I'm thinking on that line as well to produce this
Mm-hmm.
write-up as a chapter or the whole book.
Because
And I approached to some publisher, but they told me, some of the publishers, they told me that if your dissertation is from Australia or from somewhere German, then we could directly publish your work. But you are from other world, so it is not. So I will
ugh,
see other possibilities. If
mhm.
if with some changes I could able to produce or publish, then I'm open for that.
Yeah, because I think even the idea of writing letters to the theorist, that could be a whole article, because people could do that as they're setting up their framework and then the whole way through as part of their reflexivity. That was a very powerful idea. There's a question here. So, with so many different deep concepts, if someone wanted to try this approach for the first time, what advice would you give them? And so I'm thinking maybe like, which area would you want them to start with to try?
Yeah, definitely. So this is very like a good question, because when we try to use our own local context and produce our work, and also to disseminate that knowledge system to the wider world, this is very powerful concept. So what I suggest in this case is we could see some very basic practices that are aligning for our research orientation or focuses. So that are very basic foundation. So with before producing this dissertation, I work with different our one terminologies and work. We wrote about pandering of inquiry. So pandering of is considered as the human ways of doing, being, and valuing, and they that are also space for sharing their goosebump and other. And we construct one method there as a pandering of inquiry, and we publish that in one of the journal, underrepresented and minority, where the first author is Parvati Dungana. And there we initiate one methodological construct, and from that was also one of my foundation to work further. So we can start from very basic our terminologies or basic practices that are
Mm,
in our world, and we can start making that in a systematic reporting. Then definitely that may get space in the scholarly community, and that may have later it may comes to some ways of contributing differently.
mm.
So we may start from our own practices, what is exactly in there in our own culture. So
Yeah.
that may have authentic type of understanding to that particular world.
Mm. Yes, and so I think your advice is good for anybody from any kind of background. And then if people share elements of your background, they can build and pull directly on your work. Now, I'm very interested in flowers, and I'm a flower gardener, so I noticed the marigold, but I think the marigold has a spiritual element. And so, were those metaphors drawn directly from things research participants said, or did you infer the metaphor from what they said?
No, I infer from my side because I see their voices and I infer in marigold metaphor.
Mhm.
So
That's
that,
really
yeah,
powerful. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, really powerful. All right, any other questions from the group? Vitus? Yes.
Allow me to ask as well. But I like the first few questions that you have raised. I'm very much interested also of perhaps there's a way to replicate it here for for the Philippines. But then again, one thing I observe, Professor Niroj, how would I pronounce your name? I hope
Yeah, this
I
is correct. Yeah, this is
Right.
correct.
So, pardon me, Professor Niroj, if my question is rather shallow. It seems to me, based on your presentation, that in Eastern inquiry, knowledge seems to be regarded as I don't know, relational and situated. So does that mean that any researcher who would attempt to do similar Eastern inquiry must be an embedded participant rather than a detached observer?
Hmm.
This is very like it's not a free from what we expect, but we should first we should well informed about our concept, thought, and perspectives that are
Uh,
like Eastern or Western. When you understand its nuances and clear differences, then we
mm,
can construct and contribute to that particular world.
yeah.
So participants are not the major sources, but the researchers are the major sources because the researchers need to curate or crafted their inquiry in a way that blend or that brings their own cultural or their practices. So here my focus is not largely on Eastern, but it's on our own cultural practices. So that's what I want to say. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. And so I think in some ways, both, because so much of the training in qualitative research is so colonized through Western thought. So
Exactly.
you receive that training, you receive the readings, and so this is a way of pushing back and thinking about what the Eastern contribution or anybody from a non-dominant Western thought. That's really powerful. Did you have a follow-up comment, Vistas?
Uh, well, I see that the focus of the research of Dr. Niroj is, I think, more on teachers' pedagogy. You mentioned about integrating local and global technologies. What else? Facilitating in various activities. And you mentioned also about the research collaboration, innovation, and teaching and learning practices. So I'm just wondering, why focus on perhaps training your teachers? I just wondering, as a Filipino, is there also like some issues on the way like on teacher training? Like we keep in the Philippines, we keep on improving our training programs. Do you also have like do you does that did that inspire you to focus on teacher pedagogy?
Yeah, so during my PhD, I produced more than 100 papers. Among different papers, I have worked a lot in specific areas, especially teachers' professional development, teachers' well-being, teachers like the pedagogical knowledge, teachers' content knowledge, teachers' reflective practices, and that all are foundation. During my inquiry, I it took almost 5 years for me to complete this project. So here I focused only on four core areas about teachers while envisioning STEM-based math education. First core
Mm,
area is about curriculum spaces, where how curriculum is being how curriculum is understood by the teachers as that is just a discrete task or that is more than that. So I see from I also connect Rongoli and other aspect as a metaphorically. And second
mm,
area is about my engage pedagogy, how we could engage the learners in STEM field. So second world is about engaged pedagogy. And third is about more, this teachers' professional development. So here there are different type of pedagogical, like the teacher personal development. Some are so occasional, one time. Some are more continue like as a continuous weekly basis. We call that a CPT, continuous professional development. I also touch that as well. How that have been in practice. And thirdly, I deal with the teachers' reflective practice. As teacher are the classroom leaders, and they know how to nurture their learning system. So, what exact practices are there, and how that promote to the STEM education. So, these are four core areas I have worked a lot,
yeah.
not
Thank
as a
you.
whole.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much. Before we end, I want to share the speaker for next month. This ad will be up soon. We're waiting for confirmation for the one photo you see here. But Dr. Coker, who's a member of our group, is going to talk about phenomenological validity, and he has developed ways that are novel to phenomenology to think about how to go deeper. And then they're going to particularly pull on work that he's done with Francesca, who I think is his major student, if I remember. So I'm looking forward to this also. And that advertisement will go up soon. So I just want to extend such a huge thanks to Dr. Dahal. The thing that I love about this process is I'm learning so much. And I also would like to extend a greeting to your faculty because so many faculty actually limit students' ideas because they're concerned they're trying something too different. What will my other colleagues say? And I can see he created a supportive environment where you could try so many different things. So I'm very impressed by that. So thank you so much, and I appreciate all your time.
And thank you so much, and have a good day.